Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the School District of Springfield Township Board of School Directors, regular board meeting November 21st, 2017. We met in executive session at 6:30 p.m. prior to this meeting to discuss a real estate tax matter. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Reading of the mission statement. The mission of the School District of Springfield Township is to educate and develop all students as learners and citizens who are high-achieving, resilient, and responsible in a changing global community. Roll call.
Mr. Chapman? Here. Ms. Casales? Mr. Lapidus? Here. Ms. Nelson? Here. Mr. Ryer? Here. Ms. Sarsfield? Here. Dr. Teretuski? Here. Mr. Taylor? Here. Ms. Lipinski? Here.
Announcements. The board, at its discretion, may videotape all or any portion of public board meetings subject to the limitations set forth in Policy 006.2, Broadcasting of Meetings. Board meetings will be broadcast on Friday afternoon following the board meeting. Are there any public comments on agenda items? Okay. Approval of minutes. October 3rd, 2017, interim meeting, board minutes E. October 17th, 2017, regular meeting, board minutes F. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments? Okay, Ms. Kerr?
Mr. Chapman? Aye. Mr. Lapidus? Aye. Ms. Nelson? Aye. Mr. Ryer? Aye. Ms. Sarsfield? Aye. Dr. Teretuski? Aye. Mr. Taylor? Aye. Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Approval of Treasurer's Report, Treasurer's Report D. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Aye. Mr. Lapidus? Aye. Ms. Nelson? Aye. Mr. Ryer? Aye. Ms. Sarsfield? Aye. Dr. Teretuski? Aye. Mr. Taylor? Aye. Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Reports and information, District EEHSP PTA report, Colleen Shaler.
Evening. Hi. I'm going to give it the report for the EEHSP. I don't have an update for the secondary PTA today. So the EEHSP is doing well this year. Budgetarily, we're surpassing our goals, so we are happy about that. And we've been able to fund some additional things that we didn't have planned, including the teachers at Erdenheim did a fundraiser for the recent hurricane victims, and we were able to help with that a little bit. We also received some money from a local charity called Shane's Kindness that is to go to our Needy Child Fund, which is going to be administered at the discretion of the school social workers, consistent with the EEHSP mission, if that's what it's called. The book fairs have just happened. The Enfield Book Fair just happened, and it was very successful. One thing we note is that we always need more volunteers, especially for the younger classes, because they need help writing down the books that they want and the cost of those, and there was a little bit of issues there. So any volunteers we can get to help with the book fairs for the spring would be very appreciated. The school directory is about to come out in right after Thanksgiving, so if anyone's waiting for that, it will be happening very, very soon. And the last thing is that we had some requests from parents informally relating to special needs kids and the events that the EEHSP has. So we reached out to the principals, and they were able to put us in contact with staff members at the schools in order to come up with special needs liaisons. So as we have events, we're going to reach out to the special needs liaisons to see if there's anything that we can do in order to be a little bit more inclusive for some of the special needs kids in the schools, obviously consistent with the different needs that they have. So any parents who have any concerns about that, feel free to reach out to us. They can reach out to me at presidents@eehsp.org and, ask us, and then we can put them in contact with the liaisons or talk with them ourselves if necessary. And that is all. Thank you.
Okay, next we have the Student Council Report, Caroline Shelley and Brent Hennigan.
We're from Student Council.
Yeah, really. So homecoming went well. The tailgate, the bonfire, and the ribbon cutting were well attended by the community. We got a lot of feedback back from the other teams. I know that they made a call to someone in the school, and they said that a lot of community, we have really good community, and they appreciated us coming out and all the events that happened. The dance was a really big success. There was over 300 kids, so it was nice to see a good turnout, especially since last year was kind of a little bit less. We do have a Flickr page now, so we were going to project some pictures, but there's none. But we have a Chipotle night coming up on the 19th of December from 4 to 8 at the Drescher location. There's going to be a Spirit Week in December, Christmas related, just to get the kids excited for the break coming up and the holidays. And we also are going to have a holiday drive coming up. So, yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, next is the Administrative Report, Dr. Nancy Hacker.
Thank you, Mrs. Lipinski. Carolyn did a lovely job of talking about homecoming, and I just want to add to that. We probably had one of the largest crowds at homecoming that we've ever had, so it was absolutely a phenomenal opportunity for people to come out and really cheer on our football team, and I was really proud of our kids playing against Lower Merion. Sorry, Karen. I know that's your employer, but, and they did happen to win the game, but nonetheless, it was a great evening. It was a great evening, and everyone really, really enjoyed it, and it was wonderful to see so many people coming out to support the team and to see the brand new turf field. So we were very, very happy about that. I also wanted to take this opportunity just to congratulate our incumbents on the board for retaining their seats. And unfortunately, Holly Casalis couldn't be with us this evening. She had a family commitment just before the holiday, but we will bring Holly back to another meeting, hopefully in January, where we'll be able to recognize her in person for all of her years of service on the board and for her efforts on behalf of the students of this community. I also want to congratulate our newest board member, Tamita Jordan, who's going to be taking her seat on the board at reorganization on Tuesday, December 5th. We look forward to welcoming her. I was able to meet with her for about 2.5 hours, actually, where we had a lovely orientation and talked about a number of issues. I know she's passionate about working on behalf of the community and about our students, and I'm sure she'll be a wonderful addition to the board. And lastly, I just want to announce publicly that I finally entered the 21st century, and I now have my own Twitter account. It's Dr. Nancy Hacker at Dr. S-U-P-T Hacker, Dr. Soup Thacker. And so if anybody would like to follow me on Twitter, so far I just started this yesterday and I have 2 followers already. So I'm hoping to get up to 10 maybe before next week. And for students who want to get that snow day message really, really quickly, I advise you to become one of my followers, and you'll get that message really quickly if we have to cancel school. So I'm excited about it. I think it's a great opportunity to connect with members of the community and also to retweet important messages about education that I see out there. So hopefully it'll be found useful by our residents. And that's it. And, oh, I just want to take this up. I'm not on Snapchat. I have a limit. I have limits, Ben. I also just want to take the opportunity to wish everybody in our community and everywhere a very joyous Thanksgiving. Despite all the terrible things that we sometimes hear about in the news that are going on and swirling around us, I believe that we all still have a huge amount to be very, very thankful for every single day. And I try to always remain optimistic about things going on in the world and see the glass as half full. I hope you will do the same as we enter this holiday season. So thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to new business. Number 1, naming of new turf field. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the naming of the new turf field scheduled for completion in the fall of 2018 to be named in honor of Coach Linda Nixon as per Board Policy 701.1 in recognition of her 50 years of service as a field hockey coach in the school district. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments? Ms. Kerr?
Mr. Chapman? Aye. Mr. Lapidus? Aye. Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Aye. Ms. Sarsfield? Aye. Dr. Teretuski? Aye. Mr. Taylor? Aye. Ms. Lipinski?
Aye.
So, Ms. Nixon, would you please come forward? So I'm going to put you on the spot. That's okay. I'm sure you are up to it. I have no doubt that you can rise to the occasion. If you don't mind, in a paragraph or two, summarizing what your experience have been like as field hockey coach for 50 years in Springfield Township. And just so the board members are aware and the public is aware, we were able to see a brief retrospective of the coach's career at the field hockey banquet last week, where a wonderful video was shown highlighting many of the things that she's accomplished, not only as a player herself in college, but also, of course, in her years here in Springfield as a coach. And one of the most wonderful parts of the tribute to Coach Nixon was the fact that many of her former players took the time to make videoed statements about how much she has taught them, not only on the field, but as their mentor, as their support, and as their guide in terms of going into young adulthood. So why don't you speak from your perspective, Linda, and tell us a little bit about what it's been like.
Well, I've been really blessed to have two really significant families. My first is my family, my mom and dad, who were very big supporters of everything that I did, as so many of our families are in Springfield. And then I have my Springfield family that I have been able to gather around me as I've coached and taught. And I am very, very blessed to have had students from here who were truly students and truly family members who cared about each other as players and individuals, and they have matured into wonderful graduates from Springfield and gone on and done some just terrific things. So I feel I'm very, very lucky, and that I fell into Springfield Township just yesterday and have been able to work with families who trusted me enough that they would send their daughters to Springfield so that we could all have a repeat performance within a family group. And I always said that I definitely had to retire when grandchildren came. But I just am thrilled at having a turf. We've worked very hard, and we've run up and down the hill, and we've played on grass when most schools went to turf, and our girls were still able to develop stick work and teamwork that enabled them to be competitive even though their field surface wasn't very trustworthy. Now it will be trustworthy, and they'll feel confident and grow even quicker as players. So I am absolutely over the top thankful for the turf, and I would play on it if it was called the Mickey Mouse Field. It doesn't matter the name. So thank you very much. I feel very honored.
Well, it's certainly well-deserved, Linda, and we know that this is 50 years, but we're hoping, because the new turf field won't be done until sometime next year, that you're still going to be here because it's 50 years
And many more.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Did you practice that?
We did, we did.
Well done.
Long and hard we rehearsed.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay. Well, that was fun. Yeah. All right, number 2, personnel attachment. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the following personnel as presented in the attachment: certificated personnel, support personnel, temporary personnel, extra pay for extra responsibilities. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 3, new policy 810.3, use of school vehicles by staff. Second reading, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the first reading of policy 810.3, use of school vehicles by staff, attachment X. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 4, new administrative rule 702.1, memorials, second reading. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the first reading of Administrative Rule 702.1, memorials, attachment Y. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 5, Bucks County Intermediate Unit 2017-2018 Agreement, recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the attached agreement for C-print captioning services between the Bucks County Intermediate Unit and the School District of Springfield Township, attachment Z. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 6, approval of high school auditorium roof project, negative change order number 1. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves U.S. Roofing Corporation's negative change order number 1 in the amount of $15,796.56, reflecting a credit for unused material allowance as per the attachment AA. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 7, approval of high school stadium project, negative change order number 2. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves National Energy Solutions, Inc., negative change order number 2 in the amount of $7,166 for recovering unused allowances for the stadium lighting project as per the attachment BB. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 8, bulk salt purchasing agreement. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the bulk salt purchasing agreement with the Montgomery County Consortium's 2017-2018 rock salt bid in the amount of $49.42 per ton. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 9, acceptance of donation from Springfield Aquatic Club. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors accepts 2 donations totaling $3,250 from Springfield Aquatic Club towards the installation of touchpad equipment for the high school pool. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Second. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. Number 10, new K-2 elementary school project plan con parts D and E submission. Recommended motion. The Board of School Directors approves the submission of Plan Con Part D, project accounting based on estimates, and Plan Con Part E, design development, to the Pennsylvania Department of Education for the new K-2 elementary school project. Is there a motion? Is there a second? Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chapman? Mr. Lapidus? Ms. Nelson? Mr. Ryer? Ms. Sarsfield? Dr. Teretuski? Mr. Taylor? Ms. Lipinski?
Aye. All right, so we thought we were going to be adding a motion to the agenda this evening, but we are not until we find the exact information. So that will be for next. Okay. Are there any public comments on non-agenda items? Okay. Future meeting dates, interim board meeting, and this will be tentative. Tuesday, January 2nd, 2017, at 7 p.m. in the Freeze Memorial Lobby. Oh, 2018, moving right along. School reorg board meeting, Tuesday, December 5th, 2018. 17. Oh my gosh. What time is it? It's time for bed. 10 p.m. in the Freeze Memorial Lobby. 7 p.m. I'm just going to do that one again. School reorg board meeting, Tuesday, December 5th, 2017, 7 p.m. in the Freeze Memorial Lobby. Thank you, everyone. There are no board committee meetings scheduled at this time. Thank you, and have a good night. Motion to adjourn.